Getting your day going with us as we help you plan for the big events in your neighborhood.
Weather Channel has you covered from coast to coast, and man, there's been a lot to talk about lately. Some of those videos from the flooding coming out yesterday, I was like, oh, you hate to see that. Especially, you know, normally when there's this big flooding risk, I'm kind of expecting to see those videos. That caught me a little off guard, actually, in places like Dallas.
I mean, so many times we get these thunderstorms that just sit and they dump inches of rain in a short period of time. And unfortunately, Felicia, that seems to be happen way too often.
I know, I shouldn't be shocked by a flooding video anymore because it's kind of a new one every day. And then, of course, if you're not dealing with the rain and the flooding, you've got the heat or the smoke.
Exactly. We have a lot out there right now. We'll get through the radar and show you what's going to pop later today. I know some of you are trying to make your plans. It's hard in these kind of situations.
Right. It's like popcorn storms. Where is it going to pop up? Where is it going to be? And that's kind of been the story for the next couple, or the last few days and the next couple days.
Well, there's a couple of spots out there where the weather has been quite interesting to watch here. You got to check out this time lapse from Vancouver Island. First of all, this is just a beautiful place. If you're lucky enough to vacation here or live here, but watch the clouds, and it's so instructive as to how air is forced up by the terrain or graphic lift. You see those clouds forming?
That is amazing. Just absolutely amazing. It really is a good study. I think we said a study in how you see the wind. Or, I mean, you can't see the wind, but you can obviously see the direction of the flow hitting the mountain, being forced up, forced into condensation mode, forced into forming that cloud, and then how that kind of continues downstream a bit. And then, of course, that rain shadow that you can get sometimes on the other side of that.
Right, the cloud kind of fizzles out afterwards here as you start to get the sinking air on the other side. You know, as our pal Alex Wallace always says, there is no such thing as a bad time lapse, and this one is phenomenal.
This one is amazing. He's sad he's missing it. I know. Sure. We'll share it with him later, though. Okay, so this is what it looks like inside. You can see this is what we are actually seeing right now. This is in Hartsfield Jackson Airport in Atlanta. A lot of lines, a lot of frustrated travelers. Now, you know, you do typically see it's the busiest airport in the world, they say. So you are typically going to see quite a few people there. But when we're looking at this, man, that is a lot of people dealing with still those travel delays. So that is not at all what you want to be dealing with, especially when we have that possibility for more rounds of storms later today, which of course could cause a few more delays. The good news is this morning, in terms of weather related delays at ATL, we're not dealing with any of those. We've got the green bubble on the map. You can see the flights coming in and out there. We've got a lot of green bubbles on the map starting off our morning, but as we've seen recently, you get those afternoon storms to bubble up, and that can start to create those delays, mount those delays a bit. Across the Northeast, same thing, lots of green bubbles. We love to see it. The problem is later on in the day when we have the storms bubbling up across the country, and it causes those delays to kind of domino. Because, you know, it might be fine where you are. Weather could be perfect, but maybe where your flight was coming from or where you're going, the weather is getting messy. So we are expecting more weather-related delays across the northern tier, the Great Lakes region, down across the southeast as well. Maybe some more weather-related delays across Texas. So do just keep that in mind. Tomorrow, the same thing. We're kind of on a rinse and repeat pattern here. So many of the areas that are getting rain today are going to get rain and storms tomorrow as well. So you just have those delays kind of mounting up. You're going to want to plan for that and plan accordingly. Heading into Thursday, it's a lot of the same story, guys. I wish I could tell you things were getting better for some of our major hubs in the Northeast or for ATL, but we are keeping those chances for showers and storms around into the latter part of the week. So you're really not seeing it get any better. That means the people who have been experiencing delays and maybe had to reschedule could continue to experience some of those delays. It's not just weather related, but of course we saw some of those technical issues impacting us. They're anything but delicious. They're really terrible, actually. So hoping everyone by Thursday can get in the place that they're going. But for now, we're expecting some of those airport delays, Jen.
You hungry for breakfast there, Felicia?
Apparently. Last time I went to Hawaii, I will say, I think it was a little bit rainier pattern, and it rained more frequently than I would have liked it to.
Like a sprinkle? It was a little heavier than a sprinkle?
It was a little heavier than a sprinkle, and it was a little more frequent than I would have liked. But I will say I was hiking one day, and we were getting like intermittent sprinkles, and I was like, this is nice. So I tend to agree with Jim.
I know. At first I was like, who's going to pick sprinkles? I'm like, actually, it's not a bad option.
It's not a bad option.
All right, well, you can vote and keep those comments coming. Go to Threads, send us your comments, pics, and video using the hashtag YesTV. emergency crews are rescuing. Power of water, right?
Yeah.
We are concerned again about this super typhoon that is going to first affect Taiwan and then move on to hit mainland China. It is super typhoon with winds at 105 miles per hour. This is Gai Mi, and you can see it out there continuing to track towards Taiwan. This will be in the next 24 hours.
Yeah, you can see that as just a massive system, the way it's impacting the weather all around it. Winds at 105 miles an hour expected to strengthen as it continues moving north. So, we'll be keeping an eye on that. You don't want to see any more flooding in a region that's already very wet.
Meanwhile, on the Atlantic side of things here, it's been quiet. We have not had any active storms here last week. We don't anticipate this week either. The dust, the Saharan air layer has been a big part of that. You can actually see the dust showing up on the visible satellite.
Yeah, a lot of dust. A couple different things other than just the dust. But the dust, a big component of this and one that we can actually see and feel here.
Speaks to the sinking air that's happening, which does not promote tropical development, which has been good for now. Well, stay weather aware with the TWC streaming app. Here you can. We do have more shower chances, but as is typical with the monsoon, they are isolated. Some of them come with problems. One problem might be too much rain at once. That can cause flash flooding on this terrain. Others can be dry lightning. You get the lightning, but you don't get the rainfall, and that can bring wildfire concerns. So let's look at the heavy rain that we've seen so far and what's coming our way. We do have some moisture poised out here in the Western Pacific, and some of that gets lifted up into the southwest. And that will bring us an increase in the monsoon flow and monsoon storms that we're going to see over the next few days. Now, this is the time of year that we see that here. The North America monsoon definition is that it peaks in July and August. Most of the Southwest receives more than half of their annual precip from it, and hazards include the flash flooding, the lightning, and sometimes the storms actually kick up wind and dust far away from where the actual storm is. So we've got to watch for all of that. The flash flooding concerns, southern Nevada extending through Arizona and New Mexico, Vegas. I know you would love some rain in the area after all the heat that we've had here, but it may come with some problems. Shower chances generally increase through the later afternoon and early evening. We'll see that. They're very related to the diurnal heating. We'll see that again on Wednesday and then again on Thursday throughout this entire area. So I guess the silver lining is, though, it does help keep our temperatures a little bit at bay when we do get the clouds and the rain. Felicia.
Yeah, cooling it off on the other side of the river in Queens at Gantry Park, looking back at the city with one of the prettiest views around. Now, fog and clouds are going to give way to rain and storms that are to stay and stick around during the week. Now, you want to be on the lookout for flash flooding, especially if you're, say, riding the subway. And speaking of subway, that rain put a damper on the Mets and Yankees subway series tonight and tomorrow at Yankee Stadium. Rain sticking around on and off. Not a complete washout, but certainly going to be a wet time. And that's really our story for, say the rest of the work week. You can see we've got light rain coming down right now. We're in the lower 70s. That visibility down to about 3 miles. So a little bit of light rain obscuring your view as you're heading out. Maybe take the rain boots and the rain jacket as we're not done with the rain for today. And even better chances of rain as we head through the week. You can see a lot of our heavier rain has pushed farther north, seeing some flooding alerts starting to pop up there in Maine earlier this morning. Most of that heavier rain is going to continue lifting northeast and eventually pushing out of eastern Maine there. Watching this complex of storms diving south through Minnesota. Currently lots of lightning, heavy rain associated with this, maybe some gusty winds as well. That is going to continue its trek south after we already had a round of storms yesterday and last night. Here's our setup. We've got this trough that's going to be swinging through. This is going to provide some of our energy to get those storms going heading into the latter part of the week as it swings through the northeast. Those pulses of energy, that trough itself, all going to help us get those storms ramping up just a little bit. That risk for an isolated severe storm or two around the Great Lakes region for the interior northeast. Now, our main risk for tomorrow with any of these storms that get going for Syracuse over to Buffalo down into Cleveland, it's going to be those gusty winds and maybe a little bit of hail. And then, of course, the heavy rain coming along with this as well. So let's time it out for you. You've got that rain across New England up through Maine. By 6 p.m., you'll notice, again, we're watching some of those showers and storms with heavier rain across West Virginia into Virginia. D.C., you'll get some of that action as well. And then the interior areas of the Northeast with some of those showers and storms. Now, watch what happens as we head through Wednesday. We'll watch as some of that energy starts to swing through and increases the coverage of rain and the amount and also the intensity. That's the word I'm looking for. The intensity of the rain as that swings through. So heavier rain could lead to a bit more flash flooding issues before all is said and done. Jen, it's like here and in the southeast, we're stuck in this kind of messy pattern for really the rest of the week.
I know it's going to be tough. You got to cut the grass here. Perhaps you just want an afternoon walk after work. It is going to be tough with the rainfall that we're dealing with, mainly because it's hard to plan around, right? Showers for several reasons.
That's right. Meteorologist Chris Warren brings to light what you might not be able to see that's lurking in the fire zone.
You can see it and smell it in the air.
It's burning right across this freeway.
Smoke from wildfires can spread gases and tiny particles for hundreds of miles, depending on the wind and weather.
Those particles are the perfect size to get into your lung, but really difficult to get back out of the lung.
It burns the eyes and nose and can leave you gasping for air.
I can't breathe.
Those most at risk, anyone with heart or lung diseases, including asthma. Older adults and children are also more likely to be affected by smoke. Here's how to protect yourself. Check local air quality reports and watch for smoke warnings. Don't rely on dust masks for protection. Smoke particles are so small they can get right through. Close your windows and doors to keep your indoor air as clean as possible. Avoid using your fireplace, lighting candles, or smoking, which adds to air pollution in your home. Most importantly, if an evacuation is ordered for your area, get out right away.
We've had a lot of smoke, actually. When you see that, I mean, this is the smoke emission over the past 24 hours from some from fires in Canada, but really affecting not necessarily your breathing, but at least your sky cover all the way down through the plains.
Oh, yeah. You can see how far-reaching that smoke is. This is the smoke emission over the past 24 hours. It's been really bad. See, yesterday. It's going to be pretty bad today as well, but the good news is we've got some relief in sight because of the pattern changing.
Yes. Now, there is some air quality concerns in Montana. In Montana, look, we've got multiple issues. One is the heat, and the other is that smoke. And so we've got the air quality alerts that are up there, Great Falls, over towards Glasgow. And, you know, especially sensitive groups, you want to avoid outdoor exertion because that's when the air is going to be at its worst in the afternoon.
Oh, yeah. We've got that. Of course, we know air quality affects the way we breathe, but many factors, as Jen was just mentioning, can lead to that poor air quality, and concentrations of that ground level ozone or particulate matter are common factors, and that is what is being worse when you have all of the wildfire smoke and all those particulates in the air.
You know, it's interesting too because now particulates are at play here. It's not just ozone. Particulates can be a problem with people with heart disease. So you generally think if you have lung problems, you know, if you have asthma, emphysema, you have trouble breathing, that air quality is a problem for you.
Right.
But air quality is also a problem if you have heart disease with what we're dealing with, which is the smoke.
Yeah, and one of the things that's exacerbating this is the fact that we have just well above average temperatures. We're looking at 10, 15 degrees above average, and you can see when you have the higher temperatures, that can speed up those chemical reactions. So that can take what is kind of a toxic air mass and make it worse.
Yes, exactly. So let's look at the pattern and the weather that we're going to be dealing with. We've got the heat, that's for sure. Look at Helena, 102 today.
Oof. It is so hot out there. It is stifling. Now, this isn't something that you're, terribly unfamiliar with across this region. You know it gets hot. You deal with the wildfire smoke, but it doesn't make it any better. It doesn't make it any easier to deal with. 102 in Boise. Those temperatures are well above average and near records.
And actually, tying records maybe in Glasgow, 108. We're looking at Pocatello coming in close to a record. We're all within a degree or two of these record temperatures up here in Idaho and Montana and even spots in Wyoming.
Yeah, so it is hot. Now, as I mentioned, stifling heat, the smoke, all of that, it's pretty bad today. I'll give you that. That smoke is sticking around. But watch what happens Wednesday. The smoke is still kind of there. We start to see a little bit of relief because of that pattern switch as we head into Thursday and Friday. And I think a lot of people are going to be looking forward to that.
The wind direction is everything actually here, kind of helping. So some of the impacts and what you can do, stay indoors if possible. You might want to use a respirator outdoors here. And if you're driving, you want to set your AC on recirculate. So you don't want to bring the outside air in. You just want to recirculate the air you have inside.
Yeah, some of those can make all the difference. I have a just changes a filter in one of my air purifiers at home, and I was so shocked at just seeing how dirty that filter is. I'm like, that took everything out. So having an air purifier can make all the difference as well when you're talking about helping your air quality inside your home a little bit.
We have a big ridge of high pressure that's been controlling our weather for so long. We actually finally get a break from that by the end of the week into the weekend. A dip in the jet stream is going to bring some heat relief. So at least that is coming.
Yeah, that's going to switch our pattern a little bit and move that smoke along. And as Jen mentioned, so you'll get a little bit of a break from the heat and from the smoke. I think a lot of people are going to be literally sighing with relief from that.
Oh, it'll have you going outside here and hopefully enjoying the weather. We've also had the summer storms, and they have been relentless.